Hi, this is Stan Bush.
Hi, this is Stephanie Calvert.
This is John Payne.
This is Jack Hughes.
Hey everyone, this is Britt Lightning from Vixen.
Hey everybody, this is Prescott Niles.
Hi, I'm Carrie Stevens.
Hello, I'm Kofi Baker.
Listening to Play That Rock and Roll.
This is not a test. This is Play That Rock and Roll. I'm your host, Joe Kay, and today our guest is Stan Bush. Stan is most famous for his iconic soundtrack anthems for 80s classics like Transformers the Movie, Bloodsport, and Kickboxer. Stan visited the show today to promote his new album, Born for Battle. Subscribers might remember that I interviewed Stan once before, which was back in 2020. In fact, he was the first ever recording artist to be a guest on this show. Since then, I've learned a lot more about his career, and there are so many things I've been wanting to ask him about. So we cover a lot in this interview. In this conversation, we talk about two of the most important people Stan works with when recording music, how those collaborations played out on this record, and what motivates him to record his version of motivational rock. We also discussed his musical roots, which go back to his youth in Gainesville, Florida, where he played in high school talent shows alongside a young Tom Petty and the Allman Brothers. Then he told me about the first band he recorded an album with, how he launched his solo career, and since he'll be doing shows next year, how he puts together his set lists. And as an added bonus, he even shares the story behind perhaps the silliest moment of his career. This was a real fun conversation, so I'm very happy that Stan was able to come back on the show. If you want to learn even more about Stan, after this, I would recommend checking out my 2020 chat with him or my 2021 podcast episode about him, which covered his entire catalog up until that point. And of course, you can learn more about Born for Battle at his website, stanbush.com, and you can find Stan on Facebook as well. And with that, here's my conversation with the master of motivational rock, Stan Bush. We are here with Stan Bush today. Stan was originally here back in 2020 when you were promoting your Dare to Dream album, which was one of my favorite records that year. And you are back with a new CD called Born for Battle, a new collection of songs, very exciting. So in that time between albums, what has your songwriting process been? Have you been writing these songs over the course of these last 4 or 5 years, or have they come out of, like one big session?
No, it was over the 4 or 5 years. It's just seems like every few months you do another song, that kind of thing. So it's nice that way because you sort of don't have a clock on the wall. You can create when you want to create and make it really special. And it's nice to see a song all the way through the recording process from the creation of the song. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Gets that freshness. So
absolutely, yeah. So and that's songwriting as far as lyrics go, and also recording. You that's that you do step by step. Yeah.
It's a lot of times with me, I know it's different people. It's sort of a chicken or the egg thing, whether you start with, I usually start with the music and get like a melody and all that first, and then a title sort of will emerge. And then after that, you kind of like write backwards, fill in the theme and the lyrics. Verses usually come last after the chorus. But
right.
It's kind of works for me that way.
Very cool. Well, I know another thing that works for you, or with you, I should say, is your good friend Holger Fath, who produced this album. I know he produced actually several albums of yours. You mentioned him last time you were here, so I was wondering, could you tell us a little bit more about that collaborative partnership you have with Holger. He sounds like a very interesting guy.
Yeah, he's great. He's originally from Germany, but he's been in the States for like 35 years or something. And it's funny because when we first met, he came up to me at a gig, and he had been to my show in Germany that I did, one of the concerts in Cologne, and he had been to the show, and he was kind of a fan, and we made friends and started working together way back then. So it's been sort of I guess the last 5 or 6 albums he's produced, and he's my best friend, and incredibly talented, great guitar player. He does really great keyboard stuff too, and he's the arrangements and everything else. We have a really good working relationship.
Oh, is that him on the guitar solo on Brothers in Arms?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that sounds. I like that song a lot. Yeah, his guitar work is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Brothers in Arms is probably my favorite song on the album. When you guys work together, I mean, do you guys have different jobs in the studio as far as who comes up with what parts of the songs, or is it kind of what anything goes? Whoever, he might have a lyric, or maybe you have a guitar chord, or how does that collaborative process work?
Well, it's really with Holger. I mean, I'll kind of show up with a song and basically already written, and we'll sit down and just get a basic sort of track. And initially it's just like a tempo with a drum feel, drum beat, and then sort of add the chords to maybe usually just a keyboard pad at first, and then because guitars take a lot more time, layering and all that to get the parts right. But if you have the basic sort of feel and a keyboard pad, then I've got enough to sing to, and I'll go ahead and sing the song, do the final vocal pretty much just from that, and then he spends his time after that building up the track and doing the guitar parts and all this other stuff. Sometimes we'll put a bass track down just for reference, but then put the real bass later. And same with keyboards, you can come up with a lot of cool 80s sort of arpeggios, with the keyboards like that kind of stuff. That's we both love that stuff. He's a little younger than me, and he's a child of the 80s, so, and I don't know, I love that stuff too. It's cool.
Hey, I'm right there with you. That's why I love these CDs. It's absolutely right up my alley. I know another person that you have collaborated with is songwriter Lenny Macaluso. You wrote The Touch with him. You wrote a number of songs with him. Did he do any co-writing on this album with you?
Oh yeah, I think it's five songs. Yeah, Lenny and I have been writing together ever since The Touch. It was that was one of our first co-writes, and so yeah, we've been friends and co-writing partners for years, and Lenny and I have written a lot of real good stuff. Lenny's a really good songwriter, and he's inspired me quite a bit. It's funny because The Touch, is like this sort of, go for it, believe in yourself kind of message. It's like very uplifting and motivational, I guess people say is motivational rock.
Yeah.
But it sort of fit with my way. I don't know, it just became sort of my thing, and every album's got some of those kind of, 2 or 3 of those kind of songs. And but yeah, and again, the title, like you mentioned, Born for Battle, that's it's not like literal battle, but more figurative. It's like life is a battle, sort of a metaphor for life. And we all go through struggles and whatnot. And so I think it's important to, to give it your all and stuff, but I've always been real optimistic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So is Lenny somebody who, when you write with him, you both bring out that motivational spirit, as far as lyrics go? I mean, are you both sort of searching for those messages when you co-write the lyrics?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do inspire each other. We get really, excited. Lenny's a very exciting guy as far as that. He loves to, he's a also a talented writer, just in a technical sense. As far as like it's a real craft. It's not easy to do that stuff. I mean, I'm just saying, you get like a lyric idea, and often like 80s stuff, as you remember, the movies in the 80s were awesome. You see a movie like Top Gun, or you know uh, Back to the Future, or especially Eye of the Tiger. I mean,
Oh,
Rocky.
Rocky. Yep.
Holy smokes! I mean, you come out of the theater and you're singing the song. It's just the best. And he's got a great melodic sense too. So I think the two of us together have always come up. We seem to bring the best of each other out.
Okay. Yeah, that's so cool. And I imagine he must, you know, really like writing with you in part because, you know, a motivational message in a song, for ballad or not ballads, but for these big bombastic numbers needs the voice. And, you've got the vocals for that. So it's like a match made in heaven.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done some good work. I'm really proud of what all these years. We've cranking them out still.
Right on. Well,
Uh,
one of the songs on the album that I think of is among the best, and I don't know if this is one of that you two wrote together, is Invincible, which is the single.
yeah,
I know there's a lyric video for that up on YouTube right now.
yeah.
What's the background of that song? How did that one come together?
Let's see. He came up with the initial sort of chorus idea of Invincible, and then I think it, it just it just kind of evolved. We worked on the chorus together, and we knew we had a great song when we got the chorus nailed down. And then and as per my style, and we there's modulations and things like that. I love key changes because it
Yeah.
sort of surprises you. You're rocking along in a B minor, and then all of a sudden you're in D minor. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa, where did that come from? It's no, it keeps you guessing. I don't like something to be totally predictable, and so it's a little bit challenging to write stuff that really works, where you have like a lift, feeling of it keeps it exciting, and also a lot of these sort of hit singles or whatever you call it from that genre, there's usually two or three hooks. It's like there's a pre-chorus, and that's like, wow, that's really catchy. But then the chorus comes, it's even bigger, and then you have some post-chorus or whatever you call it, that brings back the I don't know. It's kind of like a puzzle. It's fun to write something, and it's one of those things where it's a lot of work, and I've learned over the years to really work on the lyrics. Like way back when I first started writing songs, that would be my biggest downfall. Then was like to give up too soon on the lyrics, because it's really important to get the right sort of sensibility, and not you know you get comfortable sometimes and you use phrases that you've used before, and it's anyway.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a huge challenge. I mean, that's why it's so interesting to hear about because not everybody can do it, and it's definitely a craft. So very, very
Yeah, it's one of those things where like as far as a good song, like people can't always get there, but you know it when you hear it. You know what I mean? It's like that's like everybody. You take a song like Don Henley, "Heart of the Matter," like one of my favorite songs, but that song. I mean, it's just everybody loves that song pretty much. I mean, that I know of. It's just everybody recognizes something that's really, really good. And I don't know, "Born to Run" was another one from way back. Springsteen, that was one of my all-time favorite. Africa, Toto, that one killed me. That was like, wow. I know it's different from what we're talking about style-wise, but anyway. But a great song is a great song, and it's anyway, it's cool stuff.
absolutely. Yeah, I love all of those that you mentioned. I mean, in particular, Henley, that whole album that one is from is so good.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's-
yeah. I listened to what is that? "End of the Innocence," and
yeah,
just like the lyrics, I don't know. I just like I teared up even. It's like it's just so good, and that he who was the guy, the keyboard player, Bruce Hornsby, I guess.
Hornsby, yeah.
Yeah, he's got this like it's like 145, but he's got the one droning, so it's a really cool sort of I don't know what you'd call it, but musically it's great. And
No,
yeah.
strong
Like
agree.
when Michael McDonald joined the Doobie Brothers, it was like, wow,
Yeah,
what a
takes it to
full
that
release.
next
And
level.
yeah, yeah, anyway. But,
No, that's good stuff. Well, I got just a curiosity since we're talking about them. As all of us get older, our music tastes change and
mhm,
evolve. Was
sure.
was someone like Henley and Michael McDonald, were those guys artists you were into back when you got started out, back, well, in these days or when you were with Barrage, or did you come to appreciate them later on?
No, it was back when they came out, and before that it was, Foreigner, and before that, Led Zeppelin and the Beatles. I mean, I also loved Motown stuff, just incredible writing and singing. It's just, heard it through the grapevine and just, I mean, just on and on. There's a million songs that are just so good. And it's like I say, back then, the listening to the radio was great. I mean, you'd have big variety of stuff. You'd have like Jimi Hendrix, and then the next song would be, Bridge Over Troubled Water or something, or, some America song or something. Just everything was great, but it was so different stylistically. It would just change, even have a country song like, John Denver kind of thing or something. But music's great. Especially back in the '70s, and that's kind of more my thing, really, as far as background stuff. But you know,
Very cool. Well, I think some of that influence even comes through on this album, Born for Battle. I brought this up to you last time. Your sound is known mostly for being this big, bombastic, triumphant, hard rocking songs. But
mhm.
on this album and some of your other records, there are a couple of tracks sprinkled in there that are a little more low key, a little quieter, a little more reflective. On this one, you have songs like "There's a Light" and "The Reason for Everything." Tell me a little bit about writing songs like those, songs that don't necessarily require the big sound that are on other parts of your
Uh,
catalog.
Thanks. Yeah, that it's funny because I think all of us are sort of reaching for some kind of meaning in life, and just general. I don't want to use cliche terms like spirituality, but
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I mean, we wonder, what it all means, and things like that. And without getting into a lot of detail, it's just I try to write songs where it is introspective and thoughtful, and like "There's a Light" is like obviously what that means and what that is. And we just did a music video of that song, which is going to come out as a single in probably Thanksgiving weekend around there. So it's hey, you're the first to know about it.
All right, we got an exclusive.
But no, there have been like every song, every album rather. There's one or two songs that have sort of a more of a, I don't know, like "In This Life." There was a song called um, uh, "Southern Rain," and it's where, I'm like, I did a video of that one too, where I'm like playing guitar and it starts raining. Hey, wasn't my good guitar. But anyway, but it's really about being a kid and growing up in the South. That one sort of had a meaning like that. But there's one called "Home." I don't know if you remember
Oh
"Home."
yeah,
Yeah, that's a cool song. But
that
yeah,
was one of
just
my favorites from Dare to Dream. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I really like "Home." That's it's we all have stuff that moves us, sort of emotionally and all, and but yeah, I'm trying to be sort of more introspective. Like I said, I mean, I'm a big admirer of Henley's work through the years, and other, there's a lot of stuff that's sort of shallow and not, um, not too sort of thought out, and we want to say something important, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
I enjoy those tracks because it shows some range for you as a songwriter, and it shows that you're not in a box. Another guy that I imagine you might like is Joe Walsh, and I'm a
oh,
big Joe
he's my
Walsh fan.
favorite. I was a huge fan of his. I met him in Florida back in
Oh,
the
no kidding! Like recently
'70s.
or back in the day?
Oh yeah, we were recording at the same studio as when the Eagles came to town. It was in Coconut Grove, and I shot a game of pool with him, billiards, and I was just so elated because I was a huge fan. I had all the James Gang records and all the stuff, and anyway, he was really nice to me and everything, and so.
Oh,
But it was,
hey, that's great to hear. If it was during the Eagles days, he was probably partying. But
all the same.
I mention him because he because he does all those like joke songs, comedy songs, songs that have a sense of humor to them.
Sure.
But he's also got another side where he's introspective and sometimes they're ballads and stuff like that. And I enjoy just range from songwriters. So that's the only reason I bring him up. And I
Yeah,
like
no,
to,
I'm glad you said him. I'm a huge fan.
yeah, heck yeah.
But you're right about that. Like life's been good. I mean,
Oh,
it's
hilarious.
got humor, but it's also,
Yeah. No, there's layers to it, and that's what good songwriting is. So, I that's why I love talking to people who write songs because I think the process is so interesting. One thing we talked about last time you were here was sort of the lost art of album covers. Your albums always have a fun cover. Born for Battle, no exception. You got a Viking warrior on the cover of that. It kind of reminds me of. Did you? Well, I think you're from Florida, so did you ever see all those old Molly Hatchet album covers?
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they all got the axe warriors on those too. And any story behind the album cover for Born for Battle?
Let's see. I've been working with this Italian artist he's probably done the last 5 album covers of mine. And his name is Nello Delamo. He's like an incredible artist. He does a lot of album cover art for the music, some of the melodic rock artists and hard rock records and stuff that come out in Europe and but yeah, he's a great friend too. He's very talented, but yeah, he came up with that, and we went through a few different versions before we got the right look. One of the guys he had was a similar setting and background, but it was like a monster. I'm like, no, I don't want a monster. I mean, the guy, the warrior guy, like you said, looks like a Viking. He's at least decent looking guy. Kind of handsome and stuff. But not. He's not like a monster. You don't want that.
Yeah, he could be the hero in the fantasy movie, not the monster that he's killing or something.
You're right, exactly. But yeah, and it's but it's a cool cover. It's very exciting and seems to fit, and people love the cover art. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things, especially of your later catalog, is probably all from the same guy, is that there is some connective tissue through those album covers, and I think that's important for an artist. I mentioned Molly Hatchet. They're not the biggest band ever, but they're very memorable to me because they had that through line of those album covers.
Yeah. It's sort of with Nello. I think it's almost like a fantasy. Like the In This Life album. It seems like it had like a what do you call it when it's oh shoot, I can't think of the word, but it's like fantasy, but it's like
maybe like a dreamscape. Was that a
good something word? Like that? Yeah. But anyway,
very striking.
Fun stuff.
Yeah,
I missed the first 2 albums I did were in the '80s, and they had the full vinyl album cover, and I missed that cover art.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I got one of them right here.
I remember that. I was a youngster. My son's older than that.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. How many different poses did they make you do before you finally picked that one? I mean, did you have it behind your head, or were you doing other poses with the guitar?
Mostly, I don't know, just different things. Some with a guitar, some without. And let's see, the Barrage album was taken in the parking garage of CBS Records. We wanted to have the illusion of a band, even though there wasn't technically a band. But I called some buddies and they came down and we took a photo. But it's the same photographer as that album. She was, so.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I mean, you guys look tough, I suppose,
Yeah. It was a cool look. I also had this lavender leather jacket, and it was like so cool. I wanted to buy it, but it was $400, and back in that day, $400 was a lot of money.
Oh my God. Man, yeah, I wonder if that leather jacket ever showed up on someone else's album. Maybe someone.
Oh, good question. Yeah, I should put out a YouTube or something. I want to buy this jacket. It's probably in somebody's closet,
Probably, yeah.
know.
Awesome. Well, talking about albums, was there any consideration to putting Born for Battle on a vinyl?
Yeah, actually, we've had a number of requests for that, and uh, it's not beyond the realm of possibility. That for one thing, you probably know this, but next year is the 40th anniversary of the Transformers movie. The original animated Transformers, the movie, is coming out. It came out in '86,
Yep.
and so it'll be a 40 year. So there's going to be a big thing with that, and I've got some concerts coming up, and there'll be my appearances and things like that. So it would be a good time to bring out a vinyl if I were going to do so. So
Oh, that's terrific news. Yeah, I
I've
did
done.
have that a pin in that to ask you about later, but we can talk about that now, actually. Is there anything you're able to say at this point as far as your 2026 plans?
I'll have to get back to you. I'm not supposed to announce. There's one thing already that's set up, and but I'm not supposed to announce it yet.
Oh, no, that's all good. Tell you what.
I'll let you know. and
Yeah,
and
no,
also don't quote me on the vinyl. It's like I say, at this point, it's just an idea.
I'll follow your social media, and whenever there's an announcement, we'll blast that out there because I'm excited to see what you got, what you have planned for next year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Since you were last year, I've learned a little bit about you, and I have some curiosities that I'm hoping you can shed some light on about your career because I think you've had a really interesting career with a lot of great stories. I know you're originally from Gainesville, Florida.
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard you say that you knew Tom Petty back when you were a kid.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was in eighth grade, and I think he was in ninth. But we met, and I actually went over to one of his rehearsals. He had a trio band at the time, and they were practicing in a garage. This was around 65, 66, somewhere in there. But the they were playing a song called "Shapes of Things." I don't know if you remember that song, but they had an Echoplex, which is a really cool box that they used at the time. It was a tape echo device, and so you could say "shapes, shapes of things before my eyes." Anyway, cool song, and and then he was in the high school talent show, as was I,
Oh man.
and I did. I forget what song I did, but the band I was in was, we did, and the Allman Brothers were in that show too, and Tom Petty as well. So there were a lot of they had like Stephen Stills from Gainesville, two of the guys from the original Eagles, Bernie
Oh, that's
Leadon,
right.
Don Felder. I saw Don. I met Don finally. I had sort of known him and knew who he was. He worked in the music store in town, and I'd go in there and watch him play all this Chet Atkins stuff. And I'm like, wow, this guy he was great back then. He was like 14. I think I was 11 or something. But anyway, but I met him at a party, a few years ago. But it's pretty cool. I mean, that's one of the things about LA that I like is you
Oh,
meet these people and they're around, and but I'm buddies with Rick Springfield. I sing on his stuff.
oh,
Yeah, I did some sessions with him earlier this year, and he's a good guy.
dude, that's great to hear. I just saw him in concert this past summer, and first of all, he's ripped. Absolutely took off his shirt at the end of the show. Absolutely
Yeah, yeah,
ripped through, but sounded fantastic. It was one of the best shows I saw all year.
yeah. He's really good, and he looks the same. I told him I think he's had a little work done. I don't know,
Yeah.
but he does. He does. He still has that boyish sort of look, and he's a real nice guy.
It sounds like Gainesville had an absolutely killer music scene,
Oh
when
yeah,
you were in high school.
a lot of
Um,
guys. Yeah.
I know you eventually then moved out. You were in a couple of bands and you moved out west, and you were in a group called Boulder when you were living in Boulder, Colorado.
Correct.
Was that the first time you were ever on a record?
Yeah.
Take me back to like, your mindset when you're a young artist recording in the studio for the first time. What are the emotions that you remember? How did you feel being in the studio for the first time?
Oh, I was like a kid in a candy store. It was so exciting to be part of that. And recording group, and we got signed and came to LA. But the time in Colorado was like 2.5 years, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, these guys I still keep in touch with a bit. I wasn't even the main singer. I was sort of the second singer and second guitarist. But yeah, they're really good guys, and it was just one of those political things. You do the album, and then the guy that signed us, the head of A&R at the time, he was later, no longer the head of A&R. So
Oh,
our record didn't get any push, and so after one album we broke up, and then the other four of the guys in the band went on tour with Warren Zevon as his backup band. And then I
oh,
got offered a chance to go in the studio and record an album. It's a secret album project where we did it was really what became my first album. And it was it was the demos for that album were what we recorded that year. And that's sort of what made me a solo artist. So I was always a band guy, before that. And because of the success of this album, especially the one after it was the one with the touch. And because of that, I was like, okay, I was sort of known with the touch was a single, and especially in Germany, it did really well, and England. So I had like a following and things like that. I'd go over there and do tours and PR tours and things, over there, and a lot of interviews and all this. It was very cool. And that's not long after that was when rock in the U.S. at least kind of imploded. The what we consider melodic rock,
all
like
right.
80s rock, it sort of went away, and you had the grunge thing, and anyway. But I still had like a sort of a base, Europe and Japan, to where I could still make records, albeit low budget ones. But I had something that I could keep doing, and sort of keep. And again, like I was going to say, in the '90s, I was getting a more of acoustic kind of thing a little bit, and but then I got back to the rock thing more in the 2000s. So there's just sort of a brief synopsis of what I did, during that whole time.
Well, it's like a history of the music industry because, yeah, like the 90s was such a backlash decade
Hmm.
that it is catastrophic for so many of my favorite bands. But
Yeah.
you found a great way to like stay viable by just, going. There's a phrase where it's just like, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And
Oh, that's a great
yeah,
line. Yeah, that's
and
really
and
good.
and that's what your move overseas, for those years makes, sense to me for.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
like
know
a lot.
there's stories of other bands who like went through hard times in the 90s because they tried to make it work.
Big time. Yeah, the thing is too, in the '80s, we're all these bands, especially the big bands, right? Like the successful ones. All of a sudden, they were having, instead of $200,000 to make an album, they had to make a home studio thing, or use demos that they had done previously, and but the big budget thing that was gone, so there was no more like carte blanche with album recordings and things. You had to. It's hard even today for a lot of these bands that were big back in the day. Um, they, like I say, the budgets on like these European deals are pretty small.
Mm.
So, but like I say, I've been blessed because I've had Holger, to work with, and like we can do stuff at his home studio, and at a lot less money, a lot less overhead and all. So.
Oh, great. Yeah, that works out. Well, going back to what you said, you mentioned Warren Zevon, and remember the Boulder album has a Warren Zevon cover on that. Was he like around you guys at the time, or was that just kind of a coincidence?
Uh, I don't really know what the connection was, or how he got in touch with us. It may have been through Frank Zappa. Though a couple of the guys were working with him. The bass player, who's like also a studio engineer, and he started working with Frank, and then he got Bob, the other singer in Boulder. He got him involved, and he was working with Frank Zappa as well. And I'm not sure, but I think it was something to do with that. And Steve Vai they were working with him too. And so they had some like really heavyweight players, but I don't really know honestly how the Warren Zevon connection worked. Or I was a little bummed because I wasn't like part of the thing to go on the road. It was okay.
Yeah.
But it worked out for me the best. I mean, I was struggling, but it was what an opportunity, you know. It was the old Electro Asylum Studios where the Doors recorded.
Yeah.
So it was very cool to record there.
Speaking of, what you moved on to with this album, so many great songs on this album. One of my favorites is All American Boy, which I know is co-written with Van Stevenson, and Y&T did a version of it later on. Van Stevenson is one of those guys in rock and roll who I see his name all over the place, but I don't know a whole lot about him. Was he around? I mean, do you have any memories of that guy?
I never even met him. It was,
no kidding.
The producer suggested doing this cover song, and it was a good song. And I was working with Andy Johns at the time, recording. That's the second half of the album was recorded with him, and wow, he could really get a big sound. I mean, we were using top studio guys too, like Mike Baird on drums and Alan Pasqua on keyboards. I actually got Alan to play piano on a ballad on "In This Life," a song called "The First Time," and a big love song, and it came out great. It was anyway. If you ever get a chance, you can check that song out. But
right on.
But yeah, it's just anyway. A couple other little tidbits. In '96, I had a song in the Guiding Light, and it won an Emmy Award, Song of the Year, and that was a very cool thing. The award was in 1997, and then also that in '96, I had a song in the Olympics. It was "Capture the Dream." I had song. It was when the U.S. swim team won like all those gold medals. They had like a montage of footage that aired on NBC, and it was a very uplifting thing. They were holding up the medals and "Capture the Dream," you know.
Capture the dream, give it all for the team. The call of the glory, the thrill of the game.
A lot of big stuff. I mean, I sang on other records, Alice Cooper and Jefferson Starship, different other things. It's just as a singer, I was doing commercials too, Toyota trucks and Coors beer, and that's how I bought my house, So it's pretty cool. I mean, people ask me, "Did you sing on so and so?" It's like a song I never even remember at all. Is yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah.
I back in that day, I mean, I was getting calls every week to go sing on this or that, and like that. What's that one with the Powder Puff Girls or something like that? Not that. It wasn't something else. It was a female.
Jen and the Holograms?
No, it was what was the song?
Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I sang a song on Sailor Moon. I'm glad you came up with it because I wasn't going to think of it.
That was a shot in the dark. And first of all, that's amazing. Again, this is what I'm saying. Like, I love reading about you and talking with you because it's like this is such a fascinating career. You've gone so many places with it. And I want to ask you about the Olympics in a moment, but first, because we're talking about all these different projects that you've been a part of, I dug up one that is very obscure, and I just wonder if you even remember doing it, because it pops up on social media every couple of years. Do you remember recording a commercial for something called Freddie Freaker and the Freak Phone?
Oh no. Freddie Freaker, dancing new sensation, grabbing the nation, doing the freak. Call now, 1-900-490-FREAK. Join the party, the fast and easy way to hear what's scamming from New York to LA. Call now.
That was it was a favor. This guy who was co-manager of the band Boulder, he helped get us a record deal, but he was the one who was instrumental in getting me into that recording situation and where we did that album in Electro Asylum Studios. So I got to give him credit for that. But it was a favor. Hey, can you do this thing? It was. Yeah. I think they had Casey Kasem narrating the original, but they wanted something hipper sounding. And anyway, but yeah, that's me. It's crazy how people that's Stan Bush. My voice is like that. I mean, I couldn't get away. I was always like a union guy, and you got to be careful in Hollywood. You know, if you're singing, you can't like take a non-union gig and then go do something for Budweiser or Coca-Cola. You know, you have to, you can't take non-union jobs. You know, it's that kind of stuff. And so, but this was like a favor thing, and but it's also predated any of that other stuff. But yeah, that was me. Anyway, my point was about the voice thing is, you know, people always know, oh, that's Stan Bush. You know what I mean? Because it's a sort of a sound, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. Your name isn't on that anywhere, but I see it on social media every now and again. And like you said, it's that voice. I knew it immediately. It's funny, it's just a little piece of pop culture, ephemera, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, they had a 900 number, and of course, you know the deal with that. You call the number, and then they bill you for the call, and that's how they make make money. So
yeah, and that's so funny. Those aren't even around anymore. But okay, so let's go back to something with a little more heft. You were talking about the Olympics. First of all, just an amazing thing to have your music involved with. I asked this question to some artists who have their music used in other forms of media, and you've had your songs used in so many different forms of media. So maybe the Olympics is the answer to this, and maybe it's not. But when you think back on all of the films or TV or ads or whatever that have used your songs, what are the pieces of media that stand out as the most meaningful to you? Were you ever taken aback by something on screen that had your music behind it?
Well, the Olympic thing was very cool, and hearing myself on the national commercials. I think during the Super Bowl of '89, I had like 6 national commercials going at the same time. They were 3 Toyota and 3 Coors beer that had like the whole campaign. So it was a very nice year. But yeah, the other stuff too was like there were movies from Jean-Claude Van Damme's first 2 movies. You probably knew about that. Maybe you were going to bring that up. Oh yeah, but yeah, Kickboxer, and the first one was Bloodsport, and so there were 3 songs in each of those 2 movies, and that was a very cool thing. Even though I wasn't a writer on those, they featured my voice, and it was pretty cool. I still get people like they'll see one of those movies on cable at 2 in the morning. And, oh look, there's Stan Bush. So I have fans from the early Transformers stuff and Van Damme, and that was another thing. Sort of the connection between the fighting thing. Was the like they did a remake, kind of not a remake, but a sort of a continuation of the vibe of Bloodsport, and that was last year, and it was called The Last Kumite.
Yeah.
There's actually, so there's 2 songs from the album, the new album, on that movie, in that movie,
that are on Born for Battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 songs from Last Kumite, and then there's a sequel to that coming out in spring this coming year, and that'll be Lion Fist is the movie, and it's Heart of a Lion, so that'll be on that one. So that's a great track, So
nice.
It's just fun. I mean, I like this stuff. It's like I said before, it's not literal fighting, but it's sort of metaphorical. Go for it, believe in yourself, kind of thing. But I don't know. I think there's one love song. And then these other introspective kind of things.
We're wrapping up here. So since we talked about you're going to be, hopefully, we'll say, doing shows next year. You do, of course, appearances at conventions. Sometimes you play. When you do shows at conventions or otherwise, obviously you got to play the touch and dare. But how do you build a set list beyond the big hits? How do you put a set list together, and what are songs you enjoy playing live?
Yeah, that sometimes is a tough call, because I think it's a tendency for a lot of artists to play their newest stuff.
Yeah.
And but people want to hear the hits. They want to hear the songs they remember. And not that I have very many hits, but I'm just saying, like Love Don't Lie, for instance, is a great song. And that was on that same album with The Touch. And so I do that one. And let's see, a couple of the ones like the Never Surrender from the Van Damme movie. That's a great song. Thunder in Your Heart, that's been in stuff too. And so, it's kind of I have enough music to where I don't have to throw in a bunch of stuff that people haven't heard at all, or at least some people that maybe, at least the fans, in other words, know most of these songs. So it makes a real powerful set. And but yeah, it's fun. It's been a good ride, a good fun ride, and I've been very fortunate and blessed to have to be in this business at all. So,
Well, as a fan, it's been fun and a blessing to listen to your music. And unfortunately I haven't had a chance to see you in concert, but if you're in the Midwest any point next year, I definitely want to come out and see a show. It's been great to talk to you today. I think the new album is fantastic, so congratulations on getting that done. I know that's so much work and so much blood, sweat, and tears goes into every album. So I'm glad that you're back with new music in 2025. I mean, how cool is that?
Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Also, I guess I should plug the website. I think you said it before, but stanbush.com. So if you want to find out what's happening, there'll be stuff posted, and of course the album's available. And yeah, thank you so much, and appreciate the kind words, and nice talking with you. So
absolutely. Likewise, Stan, it's been so great to have you back here. I'll conclude by saying, when you came on the show in 2020, you were the first recording artist we ever had as a guest. And we've come a long way since then, over 100 episodes, talked to many recording artists since then. So I just want to say a very heartfelt thank you for making time for me, both back then and today, because I'm a big fan of your music, and I love what you do. So it's a real treat to have you here.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for listening. There's no shortage of great content out there, so you choosing to spend some time listening to this show means quite a lot. If you're so inclined, please give this podcast a 5-star rating and a positive review wherever you get your podcasts. And share our links wherever you can. Or mention this show to anyone you know looking for a podcast recommendation. All of this helps us out a great deal, and I appreciate it. You can connect with us on social media too. We are at Play That Podcast on Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, and even TikTok. Or we are at Play That Rock and Roll on YouTube and Instagram. Please post a comment and say hello. Finally, Play That Rock and Roll is a proud member of the Pantheon podcast community. So if you're looking for more music podcasts beyond this one, trust me, start with Pantheon. You won't be disappointed. Otherwise, I appreciate any and all efforts you take to support us here at Play That Rock and Roll. Be sure to join us next time for more great music and stories from the world of classic rock.